welcome back to our channel.
Got a lot of requests to do Grendel.
The first question we have is from Abigail from Montana. At Hanna Squared, who is the real monster in this story? Hashtag Grendel or the men?
He knows no other member of his species. Both men and Grendel in the novel possess traits that most would consider monstrous. For starters, men are greedy, judgmental, closed-minded. Grendel feels pretty isolated. He wanted to feel like he was a part of a community. And so one night, Grendel runs towards Herod, shouting mercy, peace, and they hacked at him. So that showed man's closed-mindedness based upon Grendel's physical appearance.
And while Grendel's violent killing sprees could have been prevented by men showing compassion, a certain degree of his behaviors can be credited to his psychotic personality. Before Hrothgar's men attacked Grendel at Herod, he still found himself drawn to the violent killing of animals. He calls himself a ridiculous monster crouched in the shadows, stinking of dead men, murdered children, and martyred cows. Therefore, man's cold-hearted tendencies and Grendel's violent personality make both species monstrous.
Sam in Pennsylvania, Grendel discovers his place among humans as the enemy and recognizes himself as a disgusting creature. How does this relation take a toll on Grendel? At Hanna Squared.
Grendel visits the dragon. The dragon tells him that he's the human's enemy. The dragon frightens Grendel and says that now you know how they feel when they see you. Grendel decides that he should now avoid humans, though he finally becomes something as if born again when he launches his first raid on humans. Then his hatred and pleasure is heightened at killing.
Next question is from Jose in San Jose.
Grendel repeatedly mentions the mechanical nature of the universe. What does this portray about his own sense of the meaning of life? At Hanna Squared.
Towards the beginning of the novel, Grendel's outlook on the mechanical nature of things is quite prominent. It isn't until after his first encounter with men, thinking, pattern-making creatures, that this mechanical outlook can be seen and begins to deteriorate. In chapter 1, Grendel sees no meaning in living. This could be seen by his robotic behavior when they said, "So it goes with me, day by day, age by age."
Towards the end of the novel, Grendel begins to sense he is nearing the end of his life. The disappointment felt when he reaches this realization is best portrayed when the Shaper dies. Think of the pastness of the past, how the moment I am alive, imprisoned and moved, slowly tumbling through darkness. All of that shows Grendel starting to look back on his life and regret not killing the Shaper himself, because it fulfilled his meaning of life.
This question comes all the way from Singapore. Why do you think Unferth is so dedicated and recognized as a hero? Why do you think Grendel tries to him of heroism? Hashtag Hanna Squared. Respond.
Dying a hero is an achievement that Unferth wants to have. And when he first faces Grendel, he asks him to tell them in hell that Unferth, the son of Ecglaf, sent you and known far and wide as a hero. Unferth wants to be known and famous for these deeds that he's doing, but Grendel often defeats him and he doesn't allow him to die. And if Unferth does die in battle with Grendel, he'd be recognized as a hero. And heroism is something that Unferth defines his life with, and dying without that title is frightening. And he wants to avenge his past and be recognized for what he's done that is heroic. Grendel deprives him of this because he doesn't want Unferth to have this heroic death, so keeping him alive is the greatest kind of form of torture.
Alexis from Texas asks, how does Grendel struggle with communicating with others? Is this language barrier a symbol of something?
Grendel can speak. He recognizes that his mother forgot all of the language long ago, so Grendel has lived his entire life not being able to communicate with the only person he's ever interacted with. This troubles him, and when he begins to have self-discovery and he becomes distraught while understanding that his place in the world, his mother's only reaction is to try to comfort him. He is unable to share these complex thoughts that he's having with his mother, and he becomes overwhelmed. This language barrier kind of symbolizes the stark difference between Grendel and his mother.
Amanda asked, in what ways are Grendel similar to the monster in Beowulf, and how is he different?
In Beowulf, Grendel is described as this vicious monster who's pillaging the Danes because he hates the sound of music and celebration coming from the Harrod Hall. However, in the novel, Grendel offers a very different point of view and allows the reader to see the true meaning behind Grendel's raids and attacks.
Grendel is much more thoughtful than he is portrayed in Beowulf. He seems to possess many human traits such as dread, loneliness. These characteristics are best portrayed when Grendel realizes he has essentially been born on the wrong side of history. He runs home on all fours screaming lost. Another example is when he asks himself, why can't I have someone to talk to? These feelings Grendel is experiencing gives us as readers something to relate to, and therefore Grendel seems less demonic than he's exhibited in Beowulf.
Grendel lives in isolation, both from humans and his own mother. Which of these is more isolating for Grendel, and how does this create loneliness for him?
Grendel feels a stronger connection to humans than to his mother. He introduces his isolation from his mother in chapter 2 and recognizes the shocking separateness from me in my mama's eyes. He also recognizes his mother as a ugly, terrible troll, so his separation from her doesn't create as much distress for him. Relationship with humans is different. He watches their society, their wars, their celebrations, detached from them all. The loneliness he feels from them is much greater, and he cannot communicate with them. And the first time he interacts with them, he requests pig, but Hrothgar throws an axe at him. This startling lack of communication upsets Grendel, and he screams at the humans, "You're all crazy."
Me.
This question comes from Mark Miller from Puerto Rico. Why do you think Grendel keeps Hrothgar and most of the men alive rather than killing everyone in the raids?
The reason Grendel doesn't kill Hrothgar is popularly debated. One stance is that Grendel knows the death of Hrothgar will result in chaos. He'll no longer have an organized system of killing. And Grendel found the purpose of his life raiding Hrothgar's kingdom. This becomes apparent the night that he first raids Harrenhal and runs back to the forest, heart-churning, boiling like a flooded ditch with glee.
If Grendel were to have killed the entire kingdom on the first night of the raid, he would have found himself bored and without meaning in his life once again. The winter before Grendel's death was too harsh to attack the Danes, and Grendel found himself overwhelmed with boredom, exclaiming, "Tedium is the worst pain." This winter reflects how meaningless and boring Grendel's life would be without his sole purpose of murdering. All right, guys, that's all we have for you guys today.
Thanks for watching.